Gesante Bade. I'm back in studio, and welcome to Live and Loud. I can't tell you how happy I am to actually be sitting here with real people and having interactions, because it's been 3 weeks, so it's been a nightmare, COVID nightmare. It's over now. I feel like a superstar with 5 months of immunity. But let's get straight into this, because I don't want to beat around the bush. This is a gentleman that I respect and have known for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Since 2004, actually. And the reason why I'm going to talk to Ryan O'Connor, not about radio, is because people have this impression that radio presenters come in for 3 hours. It's intensive, those 3 hours.
Yeah.
But that's all they do, and they get paid a duck salary for that, right? But there's a lot of prep work that goes into it. But I want to talk about what is a day like for Ryan O'Connor, because what people don't see is the other work you do.
Sure.
So Ryan O'Connor, he's not going to say it, but he takes money out of his own volatile people. He leverages relationships, not connections, relationships with people that he's embraced over the years. Yeah. We get into things and then we overcommit.
That's me. I'm a yes person.
You can't say no.
I can't say no. So in actual fact, it's to my detriment, because I overcommit. And when I overcommit, I unfortunately don't pay enough attention to everybody, because I just can't. So I go, yes. And then I go, hang on a second, how am I going to juggle all these yeses?
Yeah.
And then what happens is family gets sacrificed, your own personal time gets sacrificed. But I mean, that is to the extreme of time away from the microphone. It's just coming back to the beginning. It's just, you're so right. I think 3 hours of being, and now on camera, the time that you spend in front of doing what you do for a living, whether it's been creating content or whatever it is, the amount of research that goes into making that happen for that short space of time. I mean, it's vast.
And to package it in radio links.
Sure. Yeah.
This show can easily turn into half an hour, but we don't have half an hour.
Absolutely.
But we have to capture that essence.
Quickly.
So people don't understand how taxing that is.
Yeah,
it's exhausting, actually.
Absolutely.
The theatre of the mind, as we know it.
Well, that's exactly it. So I miss that. You've hit the nail on the head. What drew me to radio in the beginning was theatre. I love the fact that in my day growing up, I woke up to the radio, I went to sleep to the radio. A radio was more... Before then, I mean, squad cars and Springbok radio. I'm talking before Graham White's time. Inspector Car Investigates. I'm talking about old school, where you hear someone's walking through.
And you're like creating those sound effects.
All the sound effects. And those sound effects played a pivotal role, how the characters came to life. And at the end of the show, character so-and-so was played by one guy. One guy played like 7 characters. Mind blown. Yeah. And that links into another big part of my life. And I am so fascinated and amazed by cultures, by people, by diversity. Fortunate enough to have grown up in a city, in such a cosmopolitan city, such an eclectic blend of life in the city. Yeah. And we're so spoiled. You can go anywhere in the world, and sure, parts of the UK, they're broken into factions, but in Cape Town, we have this amazing, colorful pot, a vibrant pot of wonderful personality in the city. And geez, I love it. I love it.
But now, a few things happened to you in your personal life that led to you supporting a very noble cause.
Yeah.
But even before, and we saw you very visible with the Pre-Me unit at Groote Hospital.
Yeah.
Robin Adams, our friend.
Oh man, I watched his journey, Baby Grace. What a beautiful name, eh?
Isla Grace.
Isla Grace. And Grace resonates with me because that was
Turkish for the moon.
For the moon, yeah. And Grace was, our stillborn daughter was Grace. So and that resonated with me. So I was watching Robin's journey closely. And when she was eventually, and I was tearful the whole way through his journey, because I was there. I relived those moments of what it's like. Yeah. Both my kids are preemies. Both of them came out.
Faith and Aaron.
Both of them, Faith and Aaron. Both preemies. Both came out way too early. They were like, how's it? Please give me a mask and a ventilator and a this and a that, and wired up like a space robot.
But even before that moment, you were active in communities, doing things that don't necessarily make the newspapers, right?
Yeah.
So if you call Ryan O'Connor and you say, listen, Red Cross Children's Hospital needs a new hospital wing, this is the first guy you're going to think of, him, and probably Pick and Pay and some of those other people. And then he'll arrange Sia Khaleesi to be there.
Yeah.
Ryan will make it happen.
Yeah.
Dale Steyn will be there. you know?
But the thing is, don't do it for the newspapers. You see, a lot of people think that when they need to be helpful and need to do something, they need to make headlines by doing it. At the end of the day, when you close your eyes and go to sleep, make sure that you're doing the right thing for yourself, for your family, for the legacy that you one day leave. When people remember you, whoever it is in your family, let them know that my dad was somebody who felt strongly about helping out. He didn't do it so that he could make a front a page or the second or third page in the newspaper. And I'm still so compelled by that, by the fact that I need to be doing more. I wish I could do more. And not for the sake of those stories, but the sake of the people that we've had the toughest 18 months that humankind has experienced. More so than ever before, we need to reach out and help a brother and sister in need.
But the other thing, I mean, I don't want to harp on this, but one of the other things that strikes me about you is the fact that you reach out to people. You can read a room properly, you know, and that comes across in your radio work as well. But at the same time, the COVID's making me a bit fuzzy now, so I've actually lost my train of thought. I'm stealing a little bit of time here. But what I wanted to say was, I don't actually know.
No. Well, listen, it's interesting. I mean, I look at what people have done. Look at yourself, and again, this is not a session where we're kind of tapping each other on the back. But you know, there needs to be more people that are actively involved in raising a voice around certain needs in our society. And you're first to put your hand up and say, if there's a voice to be to be heard, let me be a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah,
that is huge.
But the flip side of that is the advent of social media has put the spotlight on all of us and our behavior, you know? So one of the things that I enjoy about you is the Ryan O'Connor we're seeing here now, the one we met in the street when you arrived here, is the same Brian O'Connor that goes onto radio. Is the same guy that we see in social media. And that's where a lot of these so-called influencers get it wrong. They try and have two different personalities. You know? But I'm going to cap this conversation here because later in the show, we're going to talk about Ryan O'Connor and how I met him. And you'll be surprised about his knowledge of the Cape Flats. The new segment of Live and Loud News. Now, as I've explained in previous episodes, this isn't your conventional news bulletin. We delve into the analysis, the story behind the story. And this week, I want to talk about South Africa's rape culture. We hear that hashtag me not trash. I own that because I include myself in that hashtag. I subscribe to it because every time we objectify a woman, I made an innocent comment the other day on social media about beach volleyball and why it has the audience it has. I'm sorry, we're objectifying women. And the reason why I'm tackling this topic this week is because we've heard the stats from the police minister, Becky Chele, talking about 30,000 rapes from April to June 2021 during a level 4 lockdown. Now think about that. You're supposed to be at home. So can we then assume that the perpetrators or the alleged perpetrators are known to their victims or their survivors? And you can even take it further and you can ask, that is 111 rape cases a day. That is staggering. Nowhere else in the world will you have such. I mean, it is just. And then coupled to that, you've got rape culture. What do I mean by rape culture? People who are married think that you don't need consent, to sleep with your wife. But you're horribly mistaken. You can rape your wife. And I have to say it. It sounds obvious, but I have to say it because there are people out there who don't know this. And that rape culture goes hand in hand with a very healthy dose or unhealthy dose of victim shaming. Because the first questions we'll ask is, but what were you wearing when you went out? Were you asking for it? Were you flirting with a guy? Why did you go to the club alone? Why did you take a run in the morning alone? How can we even be asking these questions, Why can't a woman, and here's my male privilege, because I can go at 6 a.m. in the morning on my bike, or I can go have a run and not worry about my safety. It's the last thing on my mind, I want to see, can I beat my previous best? Women are worried about, what is those footsteps in the background? Is somebody following me in the parking lot, in the basement parking garage? You know, we need South Africans. This is the other pandemic we have. And it's happening within the confines of homes. Coupled to this, and there's a lot of coupling to the story, because we've also heard that there's 24,000 teenagers last year in a single province who got pregnant. I say got pregnant. People talk about falling pregnant. You don't fall pregnant. You get pregnant. There's an act between a man and a woman, adults, consenting adults, to make a baby. I'm sorry, 1,000 of those cases were kids aged between 10 and 14. That's rape. So I want us to think very carefully about this. When we're on those WhatsApp groups with the lads and we're making fun or we're objectifying a woman or looking at or talking about her in a certain way, would you like somebody to talk about your daughter or your wife in that way? Guys, time to catch a wake up. For Live and Loud News, I'm Gesanta Bader. When I spoke to him, I wasn't sure. Is this guy white? Or is he colored? Or is he just a fair-skinned white brother? Probably they call him Boera on the Cape Flats. But the reason why I had those doubts is because you spoke to me the way one of my brassa on the Cape Flats would speak.
Yeah.
You knew the lingo, the jargon, and it became obvious to me that you were very much, as you mentioned earlier, you grew up in an area where you had colored friends.
Yeah.
You grew up with colored, playing football, playing cricket in particular, against and with colored people. And so you know some of the characters that came out of your radio shows. Goth.
Yeah, that was one of my best friend's fathers. And his mom would shout to him for his dad. The dad had a bit of a drinking problem, and she would shout at night. We grew up at the top of Davenport Road in Freedoek. And Freedoek, as you know, it was in the 80s and 90s, this great blend of just humanity. We were a phenomenal group, a mixed cosmopolitan group, and she would stick her head out and shout, "God!" And we would know that he's somewhere in the neighborhood, more than likely a couple of drinks in, and he is in the sea. And when she used the whole name, then we knew that he was in big trouble. Yeah. Likewise for my mate Colin that I grew up with. But yeah, you know, I've always been fascinated with accents in general. I am passionate. And when I say passionate, I mean I'm in love. If I'm fortunate enough to travel anywhere in the world, and possibly the American accent, the American New York accent for me is one of my favorites. The twang, how they get that right every time they do it. You know what I mean? It's not an avenue, it's a street, damn it. I'm one of those guys that if I move to America, within a week I'm going to have an accent. Within a week you're going to phone me and I'm going to go, hey, Gasant, how are you? You're going to go, you've been there for a week. And it's because I love it. Yeah. I'm absolutely passionate about it. And I find myself talking on the phone to people who have accents with an accent back at them. Yeah. So, and a classic example is if you phone me and you've got an accent, I find myself mimicking the way you sound back at you. And I don't even realize I'm doing it. But I love it. I'm passionate about it.
But you know, the thing about it is we grew up in the media space at a very difficult time. So people of color were in media, and white media workers were very suspicious of each other, you know?
Yeah.
And my interface with you was so different and special because you recognized the skills that I have.
Yes.
I recognized the skills you have.
Yes.
And I never regarded you as a white a media worker, you know? I was like, and people would ask me, is Rhino kind of white?
I still get that till today. And it's not, for me, I don't see it in any way. For me, when I look at it, it actually breaks my heart when people, and I understand now more than ever. Yeah, they try and pigeonhole it. More than ever now, I understand how important any heritage is to anybody. Yeah. And I understand that, and I respect that wholeheartedly. And certainly my intent is never to disrespect anyone's heritage and where they come from. Yeah. Sure, people sound like they sound because of where they come from and various other reasons why, culturally speaking, but it's never the intent to hurt or disrespect. I am absolutely in awe of people that have, I've got a plane. I mean, this is probably an accent, and for me, it's the most boring one ever. There's a part of me that wishes I had just something more than this, just
More exotic.
More exotic.
But now, the thing is, not that I needed the affirmation, but I met you at a time when it was very difficult for me. I worked for another broadcaster.
Yes.
And I was into the voice clinic because I sounded too Cape Flats. Now, you're never going to say to a guy from Glasgow,
Never.
reporting live for Sky News,
Yeah.
listen, I need you to sound more like a Londoner.
Absolutely.
So our media space was in a very difficult transitional stage. And all
Absolutely.
of that. I'm not Mark Bouchering this thing.
No.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we came from different places.
Absolutely.
And so having that mutual respect for each other was very important to me. But now let's play a little game because this is supposed to be a test, right?
I just want to add to that as well. If there's anyone watching that's an aspirational journalist, the next broadcaster, don't ever be ashamed of where you come from and what you sound like. And if anybody tells you sound too, and they fill in any other cultural in that background, then you need to put your hand up and you need to make serious noise about it. Don't let anybody change you. Be who you are, because we need more. We're Yassine Barneses, we need more. You name the list that goes on. You know, we need them. We need them.
Diversity
makes us stronger.
So because this is the test side of things, I want to throw we're going to show you a few images.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to throw a few phrases your way. Cape Flat style.
Okay.
And I want to see... And this is
I hope I know them.
This is the thing about Ryan O'Connor that impressed me the most because he speaks the language. So when a guy says to you, yo my bro, dat mos 'n kwaai rap aan. What's he talking about?
Up is always, it's a quiet up.
A kwaai rap, yeah. What if somebody says to you, say, sakarol?
I think it means when you walk. It's like a swag. It's like that's that little swag in your step when you walk.
Like a good, yes, this guy knows his onions. Eh? If I were to say to Ryan O'Connor, kykie worry,
Rakvis.
Rakvis, hey, wake up, buddy, wake up.
So you know your stuff. So let's look at the pictures.
Okay.
And these are just triggers, right?
Yeah.
Can you see?
Five-bob!
A five-bob. Oh, wait. The next picture starts with a B.
A bliksem se kouding. A bompie. Okay, bompie. Yo, a gold chain. Name for it?
Afrikaans name for a chain?
Goue?
A goue ketting.
A goue ketting.
Oh, wait.
I never had a goue ketting ever in my life.
But that one looks a bit... That's hardcore, no?
Ketting.
No, that one you wear out.
I wear every single chain, even when I'm in the
I'm going to
house.
leave marks after a sweaty night, hopefully. Because then it's not real gold.
Oh, come on.
Hey, ANC!
Oh, weird.
Ja,
Stick it up.
Ik kap een ANC.
Okay.
Dams.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a gaatje.
Also known as a sliding door
A
executive.
sliding door executive, a gaatje. A Weinberg Mulberry Gouwerij. Oh, that's a dike. That's a lekker dike. That looks like a Gatsby.
Yeah.
But that looks like that looks like a very posh Gatsby. But the Gatsbys that I know, they see that bread. The bread on that picture hasn't been soaked with enough sauce. That masala, whatever it is there, and I'm looking, it looks like a bit of masala. That whole, it's a good Gatsby when the whole bread is soaked in that
Yeah, but the
masala.
mistake people make with Gatsby's.
Remember we had a Gatsby,
we had a
trying to find the
morning,
big
the best Gatsby. I stayed at the one table.
Yeah,
The cozy corner. I couldn't move.
Tweeted, I miss this. This picture, next picture, I miss. And I think that there's a lot of people that miss tweeting every year. I think that the Klopse and the celebrations that
What they
remind
bring
me
to the city,
what they bring to the city.
Have you been?
Tourism, I have, but I haven't joined you guys because I think it's Beidou or somebody that I know that has, and you were involved as well.
I was involved with D6.
Or D6,
One
correct.
day you must take the walk.
The Juvie boys.
Maybe take a little pee bucky with you because they never have enough toilets. And something to drink.
And something to drink. Not the voorloper.
Yeah.
Voorloper.
Gee.
The
You
voorloper.
got it. Is there one more?
Oh, listen. Sunday morning's coffee and Koesisters.
There we go. Cook sisters.
Koesisters.
Very impressive.
I can smell that from here.
The Cook sister is something totally different.
Now,
this
the
is the
question
one
is,
with the aniseed.
with or without aniseed?
with aniseed.
Yes, please.
That's the authentic one.
Yes, please.
With the nacho peels.
Oh,
Then you know you've got the real thing. And that's it.
Melt in your mouth.
So you've just proved your striving credentials here to all of us. And on that note, I want to just say, how lekker was this chat? And that's what we're asking of everybody.
Yeah.
These are tough times.
Sure.
You don't want to be that guy you were before. If you haven't changed and become a more compassionate person during this time, there's probably no hope for you.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
And it's nice to have conversations with people, you know. It's so easy to point fingers at anybody at any given time, but to open up a dialogue and have that conversation with people, it's so important to have, because I think the understanding and the better understanding of what we're going through right now, and I'm not talking about cultural differences, I'm just talking about everyone's got their own battles. You know, my battle isn't the same as your battle, and what those fights inside those fights are unique. You know, as much as it kind of separates us, it also binds us together. And if we're not having those conversations to one another and with one another, we're not going to get stronger together.
Yeah. Thanks for summing up my entire show. Did my job for me. And on that
love
note,
this.
I just want to ask everybody, just be lekker.
Be lekker.
See you next week on Live and Loud with me, Gesante Bade.
Superstar, good friend, and I really love what you got. I'm not leaving this place. The studio guys behind the scenes. This is like a toy kingdom for me. I'm off to go and explore parts of the studio. I promise you. One day, Gesante will hopefully have a full tour of behind the scenes of where they shoot this. It's crazy cool.
And